minus 20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay. Rep your city. Let me see the mic. Rep your city. Give me the mic. Rep your city. I got you. Rep your city. I'm gonna tell you about mine. Rep your city.
It's time for us to go live, so rep your city. I really would appreciate if y'all roll with me. Feeling this music cause it makes me wanna step. And if you don't want it to, then you lying to yourself. Cause every time we party, we gon' have fun. I don't know about you, but I'ma rep where I'm from.
Rep your city. Okay. Rep your city. Let me see the mic. Rep your city. Give me the mic. Rep your city.
Welcome to the RYC Live Show tonight. My name is Artistic, and I'm your host for tonight. And this is Rep Your City RYC Live Fresh Fridays. And we are back once again with another fresh episode. Welcome, everyone, this Friday night. We're broadcasting live from Chicago, but we circulate around the globe. And tonight we have our special guests in the backstage area. But before I bring them out, we just like to encourage you to keep it locked and loaded where you're at on the platform. And if you can at this time, please do share the broadcast to a friend, to a family, or to a crewmate. All right. Share it to someone that might be interested in learning some hip hop history that we're going to be discussing tonight. All right. So if you'd like to be a guest on a future show, please send us an email to ryclive@yahoo.com. That's ryclive@yahoo.com. And someone from the team will be happy to get with you to book you for a future date on a future show. So once again, we're here each and every Friday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we encourage everyone, again, if you have not done so already, go to our YouTube channel and hit that subscription button, so that you can continue to get the latest and the greatest information and hip hop information and history that we provide for you each and every week. And also, too, if you have not been to the museum yet, please do come on down and check us out. We're open tomorrow at 12 o'clock, from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock in Chicago, in Bronzeville, at the Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum, 4505 East 45th Street, right? So 4505 South Indiana. 4505 South Indiana in the Bronzeville community. So without further ado, we got our brother, Mr. Pete Nice, in the backstage area. You know, it's been a long time in coming. One half of the legendary group Third Base. And we're going to discuss some history tonight and talk about current projects as well. And so I can't tell his story better than him. So without further ado, let's introduce our brother Pete Nice. There he is. All right.
Okay, you got the mic. Yo, great to see you, Artistic. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah.
RYC.
Yes,
RYC
sir.
all day.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you.
Nah, thank you for having me. And just wanted to, shout you guys out for all that you're doing for hip hop history in Chicago. I, as you know, we had an event for the museum recently, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to see the museum because you guys were working at the space that we were doing our exhibition at. But just to let everybody know, you guys definitely helped us out and set up a great display that definitely augmented what we were doing out there, and definitely put in some great loan items like Twister artifacts, and just keeping it real on the Chicago side.
Yeah, and I look forward to us to continue working together, man. I feel like this is going to be an ongoing relationship just because we share a lot of similarities, and one being,
Oh, definitely.
one being most important is the love for hip hop.
Definitely, but it's really important for you guys, like regionally, that while we're opening a hip hop museum in the Bronx that tells the story of hip hop in the entire world, like all the regional and city stories, like you guys can do it best because you got all the local history, all the artists in the backyard, and you guys have been documenting the entire Chicago hip hop history just tremendously for years. So it's a great asset, and then it helps us represent Chicago better in our museum, and we're appreciative of that too,
Yeah, and
no doubt.
that's what I want to talk about later on in the interview, because I think that is definitely going to be a really great interchange and partnership, just by us doing this current exhibit that when you all were here in Chicago a couple of weeks ago.
Definitely.
I felt that was a great vibe and a great interchange. So I'm so looking forward to the opening of the facility in the Bronx, and and also maybe perhaps because I had, as you may know already, I had earlier on some years ago I had reached out, and that's how I got connected in the first place, because
Right.
they was, I was like, man, how could I be a part of the operations, because
Exactly.
I had heard that that you all were looking to connect with some people in Chicago, so that especially major cities around the country, and then when I found out that you were on board, I was just like, wow, I didn't even know
Right.
you was a
Right.
collector, man. I was shocked. Like, wow.
Right. So me and Paradise from the X Clan, we've been boys for years, going back to the days in the Latin Quarter, and we just over the years have been crazy, incurable collectors. So that definitely helped. Our collections have kind of been like the baseline, for the museum itself, and it's helped out a lot. But our collections are based mostly on New York, our careers and things that we've collected in New York. So to vibe with you guys in the different cities, especially Chicago. And I've been meaning, since you were actually assisting the museum and reached out, had seen so much about your museum online and just wanted to see it in person, and just haven't been able to get out there till we just came out for this event. I think the last time that I was in Chicago was a couple of times, probably like '93, with when me and Daddy Rich did our solo joints. I think it was at Club Shelter, and then we had done another. I think when we had Pop Goes the Weasel come out, we did another show out there, and then we were out with the Kane tour in 1990. So that's how long it was before I got back out to Chicago, and I could see that the city's even grown. I mean, Chicago was always a big city,
Right.
but it was great to be out there.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well let's go all the way back, because I would like to know, and I'm sure the viewers would like to know, for those that don't, some of your earlier history, because you know, I think I was looking at something online or reading something online, and came across some more information that I wasn't aware of, but I like to hear it from you. So when did you actually start in the game?
Well, I mean, I first got affiliated with hip hop in general just on the streets of New York City. My dad was a basketball coach, uh, coached a lot of all stars around 1977, 78, 79. And these teams would come try out for this team in Brooklyn. And then they would travel to Syracuse, New York for like the Olympics of New York State. So my father had a lot of the players from the Bronx that went to like Stevenson High School and other high schools, Cardinal Hayes, all these Bronx schools, and a lot of these guys and the Brooklyn players had their boom boxes. I was like basically the ball boy. So I was hearing like flash tapes because it was all tapes back then. And even, rap, hip hop wasn't even developed to that point, and there were no records to play on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first exposure, to beats, break beats, early rhyme styles, and everyone would say, "Yo, it's the Flash." So I knew the name Flash, but of course, a little white kid who I grew up in, was born in Brooklyn. Family moved out to Queens by Hollis, Queens Village, and then actually grew up more in Long Island, and then went to school in Brooklyn. So I was all over the place, different neighborhoods. But playing basketball got me out into all the different parks, different park jams, and that's where I my love of hip hop, was from a very early point in the development of hip hop, even though I was only probably like, 10, 11, 12 years old at the time. And then when I went to high school in Brooklyn, one of my classmates was a guy named Jazzy, and he was cousins with Tango from UTFO.
Wow.
And right at the time that the song Roxanne Roxanne came out in '85, we actually got that tape before Cool DJ Red Alert was going to play that on Kiss. So like we felt like we were, kind of like in the mix of what was going on. And then Jazzy, right after that, formed the group Whistle and had the hit record We're Only Bugging. So he was like the guy rhyming in the cafeteria, and he like inspired me and my boys to actually start our own crew, and we called the group Sine Qua Non, and had my boy Keyway, Fresh Fred, Buddha B, and we just started our own group. They were from Bed-Stuy, so I would go to Bed-Stuy. We would practice, and we met. Keyway's father was a really good friend of the activist Sonny Carson. And Sonny told him, "Oh, my son is into hip hop and this rap stuff, and he's managing groups." So we met Lumumba Carson, who later would become Professor X from the X Clan. So he was our first manager, and we did our first show at this spot called the Empire Inn in Brooklyn on Empire Boulevard, and it really all just took off from there. So that's how I got into the quote unquote business, with Lumumba being my group's manager. And then when we were seniors in high school, my boys were going to Syracuse University and I was staying in New York to go to Columbia. So we had to split up. And I continued as a solo artist with Lumumba managing me. So that's where Lumumba would take me to the Latin Quarter, and that's where I met Paradise as well. So he was managing Just Ice, Positive K, and even Stetsasonic at the time. The first night I went to Latin Quarter was a Stetsasonic show. And I was like backstage with Stetsasonic. So like, that entree, from Lumumba, Paradise, and those guys, and, having the Latin Quarter as, the legendary club, which, when people think about the Latin Quarter, it sounds like it was open for like 10 years. It really was only open for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
But it really made an impact. Like Paradise refers to it as like the incubator of like the golden era of hip hop, because you had that transformation with lyricists like, Rakim doing his early shows there, Kane, Just Ice, KRS, Boogie Down Productions. It was an incredible time.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah.
So
man.
that's really what got me up to that point. And in 1987, I was playing basketball at Columbia. I got injured, had some more time on my hands, and I started to work on my own demos. And I was in another group called the Servant Generals, and Herbie Lovebug wanted to sign us, and we had Kid and Play's manager, wanted to actually sign us and have Herbie produce us.
Okay.
My boy Lord Scotch, who was the other MC in the group, he disappeared, and my man Shy had some legal issues. So once again, I was kind of like a soloist, and I wanted to start my own radio show at Columbia University. So I had been introduced, and it's sad this week to mention it, even more so sad, but rest in peace to my brother, DJ Clark Kent, who unfortunately just passed of colon cancer just last week, having his memorial service next Thursday in Brooklyn. So Clark I got introduced to Clark by my man, Lord Scotch. And Clark was just so wide open, got to go into his basement. He was making me, instrumental tapes of breaks. He made one tape of good old music, pull it up to the bumper, just stuff to rhyme off of and actually, kind of create demos. So I asked Clark to be my DJ for my new radio show at Columbia University, which was called the We Could Do This Show. So Clark at the time, looking at Clark Kent, he was Dana Dane's DJ at the time, and Dana just had the Gold album out. They were going out on tour. So like, this was like I was in with like a major figure in the hood in Brooklyn, but also in hip hop in general. So to have Clark as my DJ on the show was crazy. And we had a good run through the summer of '87 into the fall of '87. And, that's when records like Rebel Without a Pause came out. Clark had the test press from Red Alert. You know, it was crazy. So that's really how I established myself as a known entity in hip hop. And Clark introduced me to his cousin, DJ Richie Rich. So when Clark would go out on the road and have to miss one of the radio shows, Richie Rich would fill in for him. So me and Rich hit it off. And, you know, Clark was really Dana's DJ in terms of like to be in a group. Like he couldn't be in two groups. So Rich actually became my DJ. And then we started working on our own demos at this studio called Funky Slice in downtown Brooklyn on Fulton Street by the Albee Square Mall. And, you know, that's actually where I met everybody. My boy Vanilla B, Lord Scotch. You know, we'd hang out in the Albee Square Mall. That's where I met Biz, Kane, everybody at the jewelry shop called K&I Jewelers. So that's really like the early history of me before Third Base. And, you know, I met Search for the first time, introduced by my boy Lord Scotch, who went to high school music and art with Search. And, you know, actually met Search at the Latin Quarter. And, you know, that's at the point where he had his first record. I think it was Beware the Death and Melissa. And that was playing on college radio, and Chuck Chillout was playing it. And Search had his own promo on Chuck Chillout. And it was this thing where he would say, Search is always getting dissed. And it was like a comical thing. And because we had the radio show, ran into Red Alert at the World, which was a big club in the city at the time. And he heard about the show, and he's like, yo, why don't you guys do a promo for the show, and I'll play it on Kiss. And it was like, yo, so we went into the studio, cut the promo, and, you know, Red Alert played it on Friday night with, you know, right in between a Jungle Brothers promo and a Public Enemy promo. So like if me and Rich died, you know, like that week, we would have been happy not having a record out. The fact that we got a promo on Red Alert was like crazy. So, you know, and then Rich was going to this school called SUNY Farmingdale out in Long Island. So he had to go back out to school. You know, I was in Columbia and, you know, really didn't have the time to spend and do the demo. So I just did a whole other demo on my own. And my roommate knew Dante Ross, who was working at Rush Productions as Leor Cohen's assistant. And, you know, he was looking for tapes. So my man Sake used to write graffiti with Dante, who wrote System. And I dropped off this one demo of this song I did called Das Nach Lieben. It was just this weird kind of freestyle joint. And he loved it, and he gave it to Russell and Leor. And next thing you know, I was signed as a solo artist to Rush Management. And, you know, at the time, that's when Eric B., everybody was on Rush, rolling with Rush.
Yeah.
So that was like another dream come true, just to be down with Rush at the time. And the roster was so deep. They had so many tours going out, and it was crazy. And at the same time, Search had signed to Rush as a soloist as well. Mm-hmm. So, you know, like the planets were aligning, and, you know, it was inevitable that at some point, you know, two white MC soloists would end up, you know, spending some time together. And, you know, through Sam Sever, you know, the great producer who was working with Search on his demo first. So I went into the Chung King studio to put together a demo for the song Words of Wisdom that we had. Me and Daddy Rich had done the song, early versions of the song Brooklyn Queens. Mm-hmm. And then I had this song Words of Wisdom and was in the studio. I was not a producer. I was not a beat maker. So I was working with the engineer, having some issues. And Dante called up Sam, asked if he would come in and help me out, which he did. And then when he heard what I was kicking, you know, he's the one who kind of had the first idea, like, wow, he didn't say it right away, but he kind of had that idea that you guys should kind of team up. And through Dante, me and Serge started hanging out a lot, going out to every club, you know, the World, even Latin Quarter was still open at that time. So that's how we became close. And one thing led to another. And that's when Sam finally said, yo, you guys should just get together. And we wanted Sam to actually be in the group. Mm-hmm. And Sam was just doing too much production. He actually was the BC Boy DJ for a very hot minute. And then, you know, he was also producing with Mantronics. He produced with Toya for Just Ice. And he had even done the song Is It Live for Run DMC. So You know, he was more like on the producer side, didn't really want to be a DJ in a group at that time. And we got this DJ. Search went to see one of his boys down in Nashville, Tennessee, MC Holiday, and he had this kid who was nice. His name was DJ White Knight, this white DJ. And Serge came back with DJ White Knight and was like, "Yo, Pete, I found our DJ." Meanwhile, you know, Rich was out still in school, so he couldn't link up and be a DJ like that. So DJ White Knight was in the group. He did a lot of the cuts on the early album tracks for Cactus album, but things didn't work out, and Knight had to go back to Nashville, and that's when Daddy Rich, DJ Richie Rich at that time, got out of school, and he officially became the third bass DJ. I remember the first time that change happened. Russell put us out on the LL Nitro tour. Those were like our first big shows on a high level. So we were performing at the Omni in Atlanta and the Capitol Center in DC, you know, with LL, Slick Rick, Kane, I think, and King Sun. We shared a van with King Sun.
Okay.
So, you know, and this is at the point where Step Into the AM had just come out. So like we're not known that much, and Russell's there, and he sees us in the dressing room getting ready, and he's like, "Yo, where's the white DJ? Where's DJ White Knight?" And he sees Rich, and I mean, you know, for whatever reason, he like the Beastie Boys had just left, and you know, he had in his mind he wanted this white group, and we got on to perform, and Rich did his regular solo for that first show. And after Russell saw that, he's like, "Nah, man, that kid is all right as your DJ. It doesn't matter what color he is or whatever." And from that day on, Rich was our DJ. So he just killed it as usual. Yeah. Like one of the greatest DJs of all time.
Wow.
So like that takes you up to the point where we are officially, you know, third bass, Def Jam. You know, the history for us, you know, really started there with those first shows with LL.
Wow.
Actually, the first shows we did before that were actually with De La Soul at the Ritz in New York City. So we opened up for De La, and then we went on a small European tour with De La right before that too. So, you know, that's like that whole 1989, you know, era.
Now that's interesting that you say that, because I was just going to bring up, and this was actually when I first met you in Search, when y'all came to Chicago, when y'all was with De La. And
right.
And I remember, like I said, I sent you the flyer, but you know, I have this vivid memory in my mind, because this is still the actual flyer, the original flyer from that show. And this was at the Riviera. And I remember, like, for some strange reason, I remember, I don't know if it was before the show or after the show, but I remember like crossing paths with Search in the streets, you know, and it was just like, wow, you know, just, you know, like, you know, we just had a short moment. But I mean, you know, I just was like, man, these guys are cool, you know, and this was back then, you know what I'm saying? And
exactly, and we were cool with Dayline, of course. Prince Paul produced the Gas Face, and Brooklyn Queens. So I remember that show. We brought Paul out on stage during Gas Face, which was a bug out, because you know Paul was although he was in Stetsasonic, he was real reserved, and we dragged him out on stage, which was hilarious. But yeah, no, that was a memorable show at the Riviera, no doubt.
Yeah.
And we even had a show before that. Okay. In 1990, when we were on the Kane tour, we ended the Kane tour, and then we did a big show with Eric B. and Rakim, De La, Latifah, Digital Underground, and us. And it was at the Chicago Amphitheater. Oh, and that was a crazy show. And that was like, you know, Tupac and Digital, like as a stagehand and as a hype man, you know, when he was on. So we were with Tupac, probably the earliest of anybody on his first tour. And, you know, I bought Pac a lot of Whoppers. He still owed me $150. I gave him some per diem money, per diem money. So that's like people didn't even know what his name was at that point. You know, he was just starting out his career and rolling with digital.
Now, this photo was taken by Raymond Boyd. So is this the show you were talking about? This one here, the black and white photo up top?
Yes. Yep. That's
Okay.
the show. So digital used to do these skits like "Who's That Rapper?" and they would start playing the beginning of a record, and Tupac would come out with a huge, oversized cartoon head of one of the rappers, and then Shock would take another, Money B would take the other, and they would just parade around stage, and the whole crowd. Then they play the whole record, and the crowd be like, if it was NWA, they'd be like NWA. So they would do NWA, and then they would do Third Base. So like, there's pictures of like Tupac like holding up my cartoon head, and it was just hilarious. And we all just had such a good time on the road with Kane. I mean, there were like legendary water gun fights with these big like super soaker things with like, I think it was even close to Chicago. It might have been Chicago, one of the other close cities, where we flooded the dressing room area so bad that Kane's security guy Minister had slipped and broke his ankle, had to be taken out in a stretcher. Like, that's how crazy, and obviously water, not bullets. So it was all, it was a different time. It was all fun. And then, shooting dice with Kane in the back room, and then in between shows and stuff was just crazy. And, rest in peace, because it was Doomsday yesterday. MF Doom, who was then Zev Love X and KMD, he was out on the road with us. So that was the first time he was ever out on the road. So like, to have Doom and Tupac on that tour, thinking back on it is just crazy. As like two really young unknowns at the time, who knew, what was in store for those guys.
Right. Wow, man. It's just so cool to kind of hear, some of the back end stories, man,
Definitely.
of your experience, because, like, everybody's experience is unique to themselves, but at the same time, you can still, if you were around at that time, you can relate. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Definitely. I know. And that tour was crazy with Kane. And that was like, our first full blown tour. And right after that tour, we went on tour to Europe with Public Enemy, opening up for PE, which, that was even crazier, because at that time out there, PE was like the Beatles. I mean, it was, people passing out at the shows, being taken out in ambulances. It was nuts.
Wow.
So it was an amazing time.
Now let me ask you, because I also read, I read, who came up with the name of the group?
Well, we were originally called Three the Hard Way.
Right.
And because of the movie, they had trademarked the name. And when Def Jam was, trying to legally, check it, they're like, yo, you guys can't use that name. So if you listen on the Cactus album, like, we had a meeting with Russell and we had a number of different names. And I think, fooling around, we just said Three Hard Dicks. And like, you hear Russell saying, yeah, Three Hard Dicks. And then I say at one point it's Third Base. And Russell's like, yeah, Third Base. I like that shit. So that's the actual, like, Russell and Leo always used to tell us, oh, you're going out on tour with Run DMC. This is before our record was done. And it would never happen. So like, we're like, yo, these dudes are lying to us all the time. We're not going out on tour. So we used to tape the meetings, like, without them knowing, and see what they would say to us. And that's where we actually taped those actual moments and then put them on the record as the interlude. So that was real. Like, that's the moment that, we picked Third Base as our name.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting, man.
So yeah, that moment was caught and captured right on, like, the Walkman with the record button hit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
believe me, we caught lots of other stuff on that tape.
Sure.
Like, like Russell kicking it to Paula Abdul, trying to get a date for the American Music Awards. Just dumb shit.
Yeah, so you guys produced 2 gold albums as a group, right?
Yeah, we had 2 gold albums, gold singles, and actually, our record, Derelicts of Dialect, we actually, when we did that show out in Chicago early on, like we sold a lot of records right out the box. We had our own tour with Cypress Hill opening up for us, and then also KMD and Nice and Smooth. And we broke up very close to like the release of that album. So probably if we didn't break up, that album would have sold way more at that time. Probably would have went. I mean, it was close to platinum. It's close to platinum nowadays. But like Def Jam never paid us any royalties, so it really doesn't matter if it was double platinum or triple wood. We artists back then, we made all our money doing shows, so that was like how everybody lived back then.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, man, that's and so and bro, it's what's so crazy is I did not even know that you guys had broken up. Like for some reason, if that came across me, it didn't stick. So
Right.
when I asked you about it when you were here in Chicago and you told me that, I was kind of like, wow, why come I didn't like? And I understand this happened more than once.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, we had some issues together just with the whole group. But no, there was really only one real breakup. I mean, we had some times where we were on the road and we weren't talking to each other, whatever. But, the things were heated enough where we actually, just totally split up at that point. I think it was like 92.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's still.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then, Serge started doing his solo stuff. Me and Rich started doing our solo stuff. And, there was all sorts of drama at Def Jam just at those times, just with promotions and stuff like that. And, me and Rich actually thought that Russell wouldn't even let us break up. It would like make us stay together. But, he had, thought that, Serge had already gone in the studio and done some stuff. And, he was on the release before us. So it just happened.
Wow. Yeah, man. Unfortunately, that's a sad situation, and it seems like that has been happening or has happened, and more than often, with a lot of the legendary groups. I was watching an interview with Spinderella, and she was talking about her relationship with Salt and Pepper, and it's just like some groups you would just like, oh no, this cannot be happening. Like
right.
But at
look at EPMD, you got even Arabian Rakim, then you get all these like pseudo reunions and stuff later on. But yeah, no, a lot of groups split up. No doubt, and that's things just happen.
Yeah. And it just shows.
Look at Tribe. When Tribe broke up. Rest in peace to Fife, but they're broken up. That was a big story at the time when they broke up too.
Yeah, and I mean, it just also just shows that we're all human, and just because you can become a celebrity, superstar celebrity, still don't mean that you're not human. You still got problems and issues just like people that's not celebrities, right?
Right, exactly. And then when you're on the road nonstop, it's just a lot of things can happen. So.
Yeah.
Life on the road.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, I want to thank you though for the time that you were a part of the group and you guys did what you did collectively as a group, because I think still like I feel like all of these contributions have definitely contributed to the building of the culture, right? Like if we didn't have these little pebbles that were left behind to continue to add and bridge the gap, so to speak, to make the culture what it is today, it wouldn't be, right?
Right.
And so
there was so many groups before us, and then all the groups in the days before there were records.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've always been a history buff, so I always made a point to knowledge myself on who came before us. And, you know, that I remember we did this big show called Rap Mania, which was at the time billed as the 15th anniversary of hip hop. So that would put the start at 1975. And the famous promoter Van Silk was behind that.
Shout out to
And
Van
that
Silk.
night, exactly, that's my man. And that show was at the Apollo. It was simulcast with the show at the Palace in LA. So you had Ice-T and all those guys performing there, closed circuit TV, and all of us performing at the Apollo. So you had, you know, EPMD, Eric B. and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Bismarck. You know, like the shit was great, one of the best shows ever. But at the show were like legends like Kool Herc, Lovebug Starsky. So that's the first night I was able to meet Kool Herc and really get the, you know, the full package of like, this is where hip hop came from. And, you know, with Lovebug as well, you know, in terms of emceeing. And actually, more recently, I hooked up with Herc's brother. His name is Kenny. And he had Polaroid pictures from that night that he took of me with him and Doom with him. And it was crazy. And he reminded me that when we were getting off stage after we were performing, I think I said something like, yo, shout out to the pioneers, Kool Herc. And I had forgot that I even said that. I even had to check the tape, but he remembered that like it was yesterday. And, you know, that meant a lot to Herc and just the guys who were. So, like, we've always been, you know, very aware of, you know, the guys that did it before us and really laid the foundation for hip hop. And as we come full circle, me and Paradise became the curators at the Hip Hop Museum. And, you know, we're in a position where we can really give those guys their flowers, document their histories, some of the unknown histories of even some of the other early DJs that aren't really known by the general public at all, who are just as important, who are the guys who battled Kool Herc, you know, the guys who battled Disco King Mario, all these legends that you hear about. And, you know, we've even been able to track down a lot of the artifacts and documents that back up their stories as well.
Wow. That's so cool. Now I had a couple questions that I wanted to get you to answer for me in regard to you as you know, your particular contributions and individuality as an artist when you was in the group Third Base, because you guys made some songs that was very memorable, like the Gas Face, man. Like that was
Right.
not only memorable, but it was comical. You know what I'm saying? It was catchy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know,
And you know that song came together because Doom lived in Long Beach, Long Island, and our two dancers on Med Notice lived right on his block, East Hudson. And Search had first met them maybe a year or so earlier at this place called the Martin Luther King Center in Long Beach, where they would have shows like Chuck D and all those guys, Spectrum City. They had WBAU radio show. So WBAU would do like these talent shows and stuff. So that's where Serge first met Doom and Sub Rock when they were at one of those events. And he would go out and hang out with them. Then when we got together, you know, we were both going out to Long Beach, hanging out with them, and made Notice our dancers. So at that time, you know, like we're Third Base, hanging out in the neighborhood, and you know, Doom actually was working on demos and stuff, and we saw him on like these rudimentary drum machines, and like Serge tells a story that, you know, he would always write, but he would never like spit for us. And then finally, him and his kid Jade One and Sub put together this demo, and it was great. And like from that point on, we knew that we wanted to put Doom on. So Doom would always come to the studio. Just when we were with the Bomb Squad working on our singles that Keith Shockley and Hank Shockley and Eric Sadler did, we were in this studio called Green Street. That's where a lot of legendary music has been made, from Curtis Blow to Public Enemy, Run DMC. And in those sessions, Doom would just hang around, just watching, you know, because we're with Prince Paul, you know, and we're with, you know, Bomb Squad, and have pictures of Doom in the studio at that time. So he was inspired, I think, just on the production tip, you know, was learning and taking all these nuggets that he would get from these great producers while we're in there doing the exact same thing. So just hanging out with Doom, like there was a whole lingo that the kids in Long Beach were using, and the term gassing, like, yo, you gassing me, yo, I'm giving you the gas face. And it was actually another kid in Long Beach who came up with the term. Doom started using it. We started using it. So when we were on the Long Island Railroad, going out to this studio called Island Media out in Long Island with Prince Paul had given me the track, the cassette, with the loop on it for Gas Face, with some of the Aretha Franklin going in and out. And we wrote that entire record on the Long Island Railroad going out to the studio. So by the time we got out there, me and Search had scribbled our verses, Doom had his in his rhyme book. And like, we really just, it was so spontaneous that we just got in there and knocked out all the verses in one take. And then, you know, the ad-lib parts were crazy because it wasn't planned. It's just like what we said off the top of our head. And when I said the stuff about Hammer, you know, it just all came together. That's why it just was like this fun song that really registered as that type of record. And you would think everything was planned, but it was all spontaneous.
Wow.
And I remember when we finished, like, we had thrown our lyrics on the floor, and Doom had written out like how he thought we should all be introduced by Don Newkirk, rest in peace, another legend. So Don was just hanging out in the studio, and, you know, we knew that he was, you know, doing his own music and working with Paul, and we were like, oh, how about you could introduce us? So Doom actually wrote out how he wanted all of us to be introduced. Actually have his intros were written on the backside of like Search's lyrics. So like the collector that I was, not even knowing at the time, I picked those up off the floor, and those were on display at the Hip Hop Museum just in our last pop-up exhibit. So, you know, the collector gene actually was kicking in even at that point. I used to just grab things here and there, just not even knowing what I was doing.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was crazy time.
So I was gonna just say, like, so like the Gas Face, Step Into the AM, like you say, Brooklyn Queens, Product of the Environment. I used to like that, you know, that song. Video.
Well, that one definitely is one of my favorites because it was a great song when we had Sam Sever produce it, but then we had Marley Marl remix it, and to work with Marley on that was like a dream come true for us too, you know. So one of the first nights that we went up to a radio show that was like a commercial radio show was going up to WBLS, Mr. Magic Marley Marl night, and Marley interviewed us the first time. We were on, Ultramagnetic was on that night, and then we were on. So, you know, that's just great memories too. And, you know, thinking back on it, you don't look at the history when it's happening.
Yeah.
But, you know, we actually kept the tape of that interview. So those things survived. So you can like relive them and see how everything went down.
Wow. Man, amazing. Hey,
yeah. So, but Product the Environment, definitely one of my favorite joints, especially with the Marley remix, because he really flipped that. Actually, he did another remix of Pop Goes the Weasel that didn't get approved by Def Jam, which was dope, which was Pop Goes the Weasel with the backup music of PSK of Schoolie D, which was hot. I still got the cassette of that one. It never came out, never was released. But like working with Marley was always legendary.
Okay, Pete. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I want to get into talking more about what you got going on currently.
Definitely, you got it.
All right.
That's right, motherfuckers, we back in this bitch, reppin' the side.
Spectacular vernacular, good styles like spatula. 8-ball, corner pocket, I drop shit.
Kicking in your toe like Rambo.
Negro, don't forget the mystery.
If I wake up MCs, then I put them to sleep.
Like 211 with pills in it.
But if they got body, they probably got bodies.
Starting to ass whooping, poisonous like strychnine.
Made in the image and likeness, my existence, the God.
The city of haters, shady behaviors, hugging us to their favorites.
I'm gonna lead us here, just to say the least. A&R's killing the game, now it's AR leaks.
I wanna bring to you Some lyrical demonstration and representation from some heavy hitter spitters. You know what I'm saying?
First of all, let me explain the situation like this. JMD, Mr. Club Banger, still 80s hot, and ain't shit sweet on the bars unless it's Bailey shot.
Never will a hater have me acting out my element.
If you wanna battle me, I battle you. The only way you win, I've got on the side of you.
Straight to the point, 8 bars, metaphors, punchlines, and no mumbling. Shouts out to Chicago MCs, reppin' they city, showed up and showed out. Enough said and no excuses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all feeling that Chicago?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Y'all claiming Chirac, but it's Chi-Town. Windy City, my town. Born and raised on the south side. As a kid, I played outside. Played in the park, played with the neighbors. Played against the ops, boxed the haters. Played plenty sports on many courts. Shots fired, all net scored. Live another day just to do it again. Walk around the block with a few of the friends. We had no worries. Have mercy. Cut the beef, cold turkey. Now shorties want to run around so thirsty. Hand cocked, but don't know Herbie. Now John Dirty, it's now John Doe. And bodies keep falling like snow flurries. So here's a clue to you cluck plans. The modern day KKK. Kids killing kids. Everyday sprayed. White sheets on that layaway. So you gotta respect those who paid away and made a way for you to later say there's a greater way, but you pay to play when you take them shots and fade away. I came to say ceasefire, y'all killing children.
Stop the killing.
It's a shame to say y'all keep firing, they building prison.
Y'all see them.
And the lames who say keep quiet cause they tired of listening.
Stop talking to me,
I'm the
man.
same today when the heat rise, their lives are victim. Call me Mr. Club Banger. Don't get it twisted, slugs in the banger. And I keep it in the crib just in case, gotta put it in the mug of a stranger. And I'm just saying, the smile on my face don't mean I'm playing.
Chi-Town, Chirac, you can call it what you want, but I won't shot back.
Yeah.
Shy back.
Yeah.
Shy back.
Doing it live for you right here on WHPK 88.5.
Back.
Yeah.
Shy.
Come on, y'all.
Back.
Yeah.
Shy. Back. We want that shy.
Yeah.
Back.
Shy.
Yeah. Back.
Yeah.
Shy.
Come on, y'all.
Back.
Yeah.
Shy.
What we want?
Back. We want that shy.
Yeah.
Back.
Come on.
Shy.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
Shy. Back.
Yeah.
Shy.
Yeah.
Back. We want that shy.
We ain't glorifying the shot rack, y'all. We want shot back. That's what it is.
Welcome back to the RYC Live Show. My name is Artistic. This is Rep Your City RYC Live Fresh Friday, and we have our special guest, Brother Pete Nice, in the building. Oh man, that was my homeboy, Mr. Club Banger, aka JMD from back in the day. He also is my partner. We work together with this platform, RYC Live. This was actually his initial baby, and I came aboard some years ago to work with him. So you know,
he was bringing it right there. So it was dope.
Yeah.
So, Chicago has just a great hip hop history. Even in tracking down some of the artifacts for the museum, even Africa Islam is one of our boys, and he gave us a couple of flyers when he went out from New York to Chicago to perform at, I think it was the Rainbow.
Yes.
And, it's like bringing New York hip hop out to Chicago at the time when House, like I think it was like 85, where that club, I guess, was really big in terms of the House, movement.
Yeah.
And, just showing the different influences, going back and forth with people traveling to the different cities, kind of like the melding of different ideas and, growing the different movements. Because then Islam went out to LA and, hooked up with Ice-T. And, he was a very big, influence on the West Coast sound, coming from New York. So you see influences, going across the country.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt. I think because that club, you were mentioning earlier, Rainbow and Riviera, those were just two clubs that one of the Chicago promoters here by the name of Tony Batoy used to promote and do a lot of events at those clubs, but he had other clubs as well. But yeah, he did a lot of house parties and hip hop parties throughout the years when he was doing it.
Yeah, definitely. Because I saw like other flyers where Joski Love and Shantae were out in Chicago. So you see the early, mid to later '80s like influence, artists coming out.
Yeah, definitely.
And we got all the flyers. Like I know you guys got the flyers. I know. One of the guys that was affiliated with Rainbow had all the other flyers, and so you guys got a lot of preservation out there in Chicago, which is great. I mean, the stuff that you're doing is so important. Just want to give you guys, all the accolades that you can get, and just spread the word about your guys' organization and the museum, because it's just as important as the museum that we're doing, in the Bronx.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it is time for us to make sure that we really, really preserve our history and our heritage, because we're at that age now where we should be honored in museums, and other
Well,
people.
listen, look at all the people that we lost. I mean, we just lost DJ Clark Kent, Biz Markie,
Yeah,
Shock G, rest in peace to all of them, and they're just going way too young. And, with them go their stories and their archives. So it's very important for us to get with everybody right now and, document and tell their stories for posterity.
I agree.
For 100 years from now, like Paradise says, we're not building a mausoleum. It's like a living museum where, these oral histories can be captured as well. And, these kids now can learn about where all this came from, which a lot of people don't realize the deep history of hip hop. Hip hop is, up to this point, really haven't had a major singular museum which highlights and tells the story of hip hop. So that's been a long time coming. And hopefully that helps with the younger generations, where while they're dictating what hip hop is today, that they can, relate to where it came from.
Yeah. My partner, Mr. RYC Live, he said he wanted to just say thanks for your time and contributions to the culture of hip hop. And he wanted to just acknowledge, you and give you your flowers while you're still here.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it. And that's why, even with, with me and Paradise working together, we know so many people from our own careers. And then some of those people introduce us to the early, Van put me in touch with Almighty KG from Cold Crush. And then Almighty KG put me in touch with DJ Smokey, who's like one of the foundational first DJs going back to, 1972, 73, 74. And he was Herc's nemesis, so that's getting into kind of like the unearthed history of hip hop that no one even knows about. So that's really kind of the things that I appreciate the most about where we sit in our position in our jobs now.
Yeah, no, man, I think it's really, and like you say, it's kind of cool, because even like when I watched the TV show that you all did,
right. Well, we had the TV show Hip Hop Treasures on the A&E network. So that that was another big thing that we just did. That the platform was me and Paradise had come up with the treatment and the idea for the show, and then a production company from Europe had come in and said they wanted to do like a hip hop show, but it was like porn stars, where there was a porn shop in the Bronx. We're like, nah, man, that's not our show. Is where we go out, like kind of like that American Pickers show.
Right.
But we were able to get the museum involved, where we would go out, track down the artifacts for the museum, bring them back to the Bronx, tell those stories, and then we got together. We brought in LL and Ice-T to get involved, so it was a great experience.
Yeah, man, I watched it. Will there be any new episodes?
They just re-aired the whole first season on Vice TV, and like a lot of people got all hyped up because of the 50th anniversary of hip hop to jump on the bandwagon. So A&E kind of fell in that. So, and we were a very expensive show because we had to travel a lot, get so many different artists involved, and pay them. So we had a very high budget. So we left A&E, and now we're shopping into some other networks for the second season. But we've been so busy actually building the actual museum that it was impossible to even do the second season right now. But that's definitely going to be coming in the works.
Yeah, it was that first season was great, man. I watched the whole.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man,
a lot of fun.
And the concept of going to the artists, and having a discussion and seeing what kind of artifacts you can bring back. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And just nationally going from everywhere from Master P, to Digital Underground. Yo was out there on the road with us, helping us out. She had all our contacts on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So it was really amazing.
Yeah. And people could still go and see that, right? The first season.
Yeah,
right?
well, it's streaming. It's on YouTube, on Amazon. I think all the different streaming networks. Yeah, so it's out there, and you can definitely watch it anytime. But I think it just ran its run on Vice TV. That was actually on, live. But we'll keep everyone updated through the museum website, thhm.org, and you can get updates there as well and check the progress of the museum as well.
For sure. Now, before we get into talking about the museum in detail, I want to go back just for a moment because I want to talk about your actual individual style. So, like, and this always was something that I wondered, like, was this something that you naturally did, or was this something that was a part of, when you guys came together as a group? But you had this persona, this cool swag, like Search was very animated, but you were very like reserved,
Yeah, I was like laid back, more like the pimp style. So, but that actually came like my previous group, Servant Generals, my boy Lord Scotch. We spoke a lot about how we were going to come out, and he's the one who gave me the name Prime Minister, and he's the first one to suggest like, yo, you should rock the cane. So that's when I first started, rocking the cane, and like it was, and there were dudes around that would take canes around, but also. When you see Rakim follow the leader, stuff like that, where he was kind of in the chair, like some of that came from like that and being influenced by, Albee Square Mall with Kane and all these guys rolling around. Yeah. So that's, and, I was just way more laid back. And then when me and Serge, hooked up in the group together, it was just our personalities were so different and it all just meshed and fit together because we were like the total opposites and it just worked,
Yeah.
And, I was always like, yo, I could just sit in the throne and let Serge dance, It was a perfect setup for me, man, because I could not dance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was like Pete just sitting back chilling in the chair with the cigar,
hey, man,
and the cane.
I could just strut around with the cane, sit down, go back around, say some rhymes, and just chill. And smoke a cigar while I'm at it,
Right. Yeah, that was cool though, man. I definitely, appreciate it. Yeah, that's what's up. Okay, so
yeah, and I was even influenced by Jekyll and Hyde. They were like the first group to really like rock the suits like that. So that was like some of that style. I used to, rest in peace, Andre Harrell. He used to sometimes see me and be like, "Yo, man, you got those suits from us." I'm like, "No joke, I actually did." They were the first guys to really, kind of dress fly like that in the suits.
Yeah. I was just gonna say you used to rock the suits too. So
yeah, exactly.
Cool. That was cool. Hey, listen, is there any way that you could turn your volume down just a little bit?
Oh,
like it may be a little too loud.
How's that?
Okay, maybe that might be a little bit better. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit about currently what's going on. Obviously, I got a chance to meet Rocky when I came out to the Bronx. Me and my wife came out there in 2020, right in the kind of at the brink of the COVID situation.
Right.
We visited the Bronx terminal and, got a chance to meet him and his son. As a matter of fact, they say when we came there that day, Roxanne Shante had just left. Like,
okay, that's when we had the pop up. Yeah, the golden era pop up that we did from 1986 to 1990. Yeah, so Rocky had been working on the project for years. He had brought Paradise in because he knew Paradise had his collection. So maybe me and Paradise, then Paradise brought me into the project. So Paradise was probably on the project close to like 10 years, and then maybe like 7 years, me and Paradise working together with Rocky to bring it all together. And yeah, it's been quite a journey. We got the TV show involved. Like, there's just so many things happen in such a short period of time. But it's such a monster to actually build a 50,000 square foot museum and represent the entire history of hip hop from the earliest days to now. Yeah, it's like a daunting task, but we're trying to do the best job that we can.
Yeah, well, no, I can only imagine. And like you say, with a brand new facility from the ground up, and all the work that's behind, the documentation. We're talking, 5 decades, right? So
Exactly.
that's a lot of stuff to cover, and then making it be ongoing too. It's gonna be an ongoing project. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
but it's
So we
definitely
just
it's definitely needed.
definitely no, and it's definitely for the educational purposes. Definitely something that is needed, no doubt.
Yeah. So I visited in 2020, and it was phenomenal. I took a lot of pictures, some videos. As a matter of fact, at the time I actually went to see another exhibit that Henry Chiffant was doing on subway graffiti,
Right at
subway
the
art.
Bronx Museum. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, that was a
yeah,
great exhibit as well.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
he like a lot of guys like him, like DJ K Slate, one of my close friends, Dez, rest in peace. And we had a lot of his collection from his estate donated to the museum, and we've been working with Henry. Have people like Henry and others that have been involved with their own exhibits, consulting with us and contributing. So
yeah.
that's been another great part of it because there's so many people and resources that we can reach out to.
So how can a person go about if they want to donate any kind of memorabilia to the museum
You can
entity?
go to the website thhm.org, and there's a link to go to our archival department, and just email what you have, and then we'll definitely get back to you.
Okay.
And we've got a lot of donations that way.
Okay.
It's been working out really well.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Initially, I had hooked up with Adam.
Adam
Silverstein.
Silverstein is the one
Yeah.
that you'll get to directly. He's the
Yeah.
director of archives and collections. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and Adam was singing your praises early on, telling me about you guys. I'm like, yeah, I know about these guys. And then, with all the, how generous you guys were with helping us out, we only wanted to get it back to you guys and, help you guys in any way that we can.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful, man. Like I said, I'm looking forward to us to continue building relationships, and like I said,
You know what? If you don't mind, I'm just gonna move where I'm at right now.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
All right, sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, man, I was in my local cigar lounge tonight, so
Yeah. So okay, so we're looking. Okay, so you say that they can go to the website. Now, what's gonna be some other things that's gonna be a part of the new project? When the museum opens up, what are some other things that's gonna be outside of visiting to see the memorabilia? What's some other activities that's gonna take place?
well, we have 4 different galleries dedicated to the main elements like emceeing, DJing, dance, and then aerosol, visual arts, graphic arts as well. So and there'll be some interactive activities within each of those galleries. So that'll be a big part of it. And then we have the regular sections with the general history, timelines of hip hop, and we also have some temporary spaces. We'll have recurring temporary exhibitions coming in as well. One of them, we're talking to the estate of Phase 2. Rest in peace to my man Phase, and he's an incredible artist in the history of hip hop, and just that artwork in its own is something that people come from all over the world, from Europe. He had such a reach throughout the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so there'll be all those types of.
Uh-oh. We look like we might be froze up there, Pete. I don't know if you can hear me. All right, y'all. So it looks like Pete Nice may be frozen at this time. But man, information is coming out.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, it was just froze for a little moment there. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I'm back. Yeah, so Microsoft is working with things called Flow Scholar, which kind of teaches people how to rhyme and put down vocals. And it's in development now, so it's something that some interesting works and processes that are coming to fruition now. That we have an opening date scheduled for like late 2025. Hopefully, we can try to catch that. But it's just like I said, it's an awesome, overwhelming job to get everything done in time.
Mm-hmm. Now, will visitors also be able to stay in a hotel at the facility?
No, that's all affordable housing above us. 23 stories. I think it's like 500 different apartment units.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll have to compete with all the different hotels in the Bronx and in New York City if you're
Okay.
coming from out of town to visit the museum. Yeah, there's not any place that's specific. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, because I wasn't for sure. When I seen the height of the building, I was just assuming that it might be some hotel accommodation.
Yeah, no, that would be nice, but those are all apartments and affordable housing.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
that's one of the reasons that the whole project we were able to get the space, because as a cultural institution, just adding that element to the neighborhood and to the development of that neighborhood in the bigger picture.
Gotcha. That's what's up, man. That's cool. Yeah.
Definitely. And want to get you guys back out there, and we need to get back out to you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I look so forward to it. That's why I say, when I told you, I said, wait, when I heard the word, he's like, yeah, the museum, this guy's telling me the museum's supposed to open up next in November. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, no, that would be real. We're not magicians. That would be some magic pulling that off.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Well, man, I just want to once again, I want to thank you, man, for all the work you have done and that you're continuing to do. I appreciate the time we spent together at the Ramova Theater.
Yeah, the Ramova Theater. Yeah, no, thank you for helping us out too. Like you really contributed. So I mean, and it's great to have the back and forth collaboration with you guys. It was really really rewarding for both of us.
Yes. So and just keep me posted. We'll stay in touch, but keep me posted, because I definitely want to make sure that when because you are going to do a grand opening, right?
Oh yeah, that would be huge. Yeah. So we'll keep you posted on that, no doubt.
Yeah. Because I definitely want to make arrangements to to come for that. I know that's going to be nice. And now that I know that I'm gonna have to find because when we came last time, we literally had to stay in New Jersey.
Right. Yeah, you might for that week you might have to stay in Connecticut, because it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, because I used to come out to New York at least once a year back in the 90s, and there was a little hotel that was really affordable right there in Manhattan called the Pickwick Arms Hotel, and I used to go there every time I went to New York. And so when I came back in 2020, I looked it up and it was gone. So I was like,
there's a lot of places that are gone. But they got new ones for you, so you can find a new one. We'll help you out. We'll help you out.
Yeah. Because we took a train, an Amtrak train there, and so when we got there, we didn't have no vehicle, so we did the Uber. But man, it was kind of costly just coming from New Jersey, and we were just through. When you go through the tunnel, you on.
Right. Yeah, that could add up.
That man. It was woo. I was like, woo.
Definitely. But we'll help you out next time. So just keep in touch.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what would you like to say, man? What would be your concluding remarks to any artist that's trying to come up? Because I know the industry is different now. A lot of people are doing stuff independently now. But what would be your words of advice to any artist that's coming up today that would like to get into the game?
Well, like I said, there's so many more opportunities for kids today. The market, you might say, is more saturated because it's so easy to make the music. And like back in the day, for us groups, you had to get someone to invest into you, put you in the studio, get down with a label. Now you could bypass that with digital and streaming, and it's just a whole nother world. So all I would say, just be true to your own artistic instincts and abilities. And there's so many different styles of hip hop right now that, you can find your own lane and, just keep at it if you believe in yourself. I mean, that's like pretty much what made hip hop what it is today. I would just stay with that philosophy and, maybe one day you'll end up in the hip hop museum.
Right. Yeah, it seems like that's the thing now. Everybody want to make sure that they're a part of being in the museum.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll get you guys in.
Right, for sure. Well, Pete, could you give us a drop real quick, something short, simple about the RYC Live Show and your experience?
Yo, this is Prime Minister Pete Nice, chilling with the RYC crew, RYC Live, Chi-Town. We're coming straight from the Boogie Down Bronx, supporting you guys. I want you guys to all come out to the Hip Hop Museum in the future when we open. Peace.
Thank you, my brother. Well, hey, man, thank you so much for taking this time out. I'm going to send you the link to the full interview. And,
yeah, definitely, and I'll post it and everything. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Where are you at? You on IG?
Yeah, I'm in Instagram. Rushtown298 is my handle on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send it. I'll text it to you, and then that way, I can reach out to you also on Instagram because you're not on Facebook, right?
No, just Instagram.
Okay. Well, hey, man, thank you so much, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. And we got to get Paradise on too. So he definitely wants to get on at some point when you got time. Yeah.
Yeah. Now let me ask you: is Paradise is he partially blind?
No, Paradise is fully blind, but you would never know it. He operates like has 20/20 vision, man. It's incredible. He's the man.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I would definitely love.
He says hello.
Oh, okay. Yeah, tell him I said hello. Yeah, I definitely try to see if we can work that in getting him on the show because I would love to talk to him as well.
Yeah, no, he would love to get on with you guys.
All right, my brother. Well, you have a good night, and we're going to go ahead and conclude this show. This has been the RYC Live Fresh Friday episode, and we'll be back again next Friday with another fresh episode of Fresh Friday. Rep your city, RYC Live, and until
keep
then,
it fresh.
Yes, sir. Don't forget to rep
FRESH, fresh. Yo, that's fresh.
All right, y'all. I'm Artistic, and we are out. Peace.
All right, Artistic. Peace.